All right, so now I think I'll just run quickly through some things that I've just been enjoying lately. Some of these things I do get asked about a little bit, and I'm really bad at remembering to link things in the description box below. So unless it's perfume related, everything else I sort of just is superfluous to me. But sometimes I get asked and then I'm sort of going, I don't remember. Particularly things like lipstick and things like that. I don't know. I never remember what lipstick I'm wearing. However, I've really been getting into red lipstick lately. I think it's because, as you've probably gathered by now, I have been allowing my grey hair to grow out. I'm not sure that I'm loving it at this particular point in time, but I'm trying to be patient and just get through the growing out phase. And if I still don't like it once it's all grown out, I can always recolor my hair. But because I have now all this grey hair framing my face, I feel like a lot of the time I'm a bit washed out. So I have been wearing colourful lipstick a little bit more recently, which has proven a little bit problematic because my lips are very dry because I'm also on isotretinoin. So I have been really struggling trying to work out how I want to wear colourful lipstick when my lips are so dry, and I don't want them to feel dry and I don't want them to look dry and flaky, which generally happens when I'm wearing brightly coloured lipstick. So I guess my point is I have worked out a little bit of a system. After years of people telling me to do this and never actually doing it, I have finally discovered the benefits of applying lipstick with a brush rather than just putting it on my face. A lot of the time I would just like smear lipstick on and then blur it out with my finger. I hardly ever use a lip liner. Sometimes I do, depending on how long I want it to last. But I'm just not a lip liner lady. I just find it looks too perfect, and I prefer a more blurred look with my lips. So I have been using a brush, and I haven't been using anything fancy. I have literally just been using an old eyeshadow brush. So I didn't go out and buy a dedicated lipstick brush for my lips. I just dug out an old synthetic eyeshadow brush that I don't use anymore and started using that. What it does is it allows me to put this beautiful even coating and stain on my lips without it being too thick and gloopy and then getting caught in all of the dry bits of skin that are on my lips at the moment, which is pretty gross. The other thing that has really been getting me over the line with coloured lipstick at the moment, which is always using some version of a Chanel, what's it called? Rouge Cocoa Bloom lipstick. And I know these are not inexpensive, being Chanel, but this is probably the best lipstick for dry lips that I have discovered. This one, which has sort of been the one that's been getting all of the comments in the last few videos, is number 138, and it's just sort of a deep red, I guess. But you can tell, but you can see that it's quite glossy. I'm not sure the camera's going to pick it up, but it's a very glossy sort of lip colour, and it feels very, very nourishing and moisturising. And that is, in fact, the marketing for this particular range, is that they are meant to be moisturising. I don't find that these dry out my lips as much as any other red colour. I am very partial to a MAC lipstick as well, but I do find that they get drier on my lips as the day goes on. This almost feels like a lip balm. It is a little bit slippy, so you have to be careful that you don't end up smudging it everywhere. I just don't over apply it. It doesn't feel too heavy and it feels moisturizing. And then over the top of that, because this is sort of a bluish red, over the top I then put, using the brush, a little bit of the Lisa Eldridge Velvet Morning. So those of you who have been wanting to try and replicate the color that I'm getting on my lips, this is the combination that I've been wearing. So the Velvet Morning, as you can see, is a very velvety matte texture, and this particular shade is quite an orangey red. And in fact, I'm really not good at swatches. I'm not a beauty YouTuber, but because you asked, this is Velvet Morning, and this is the Chanel. So this one is a very beautiful velvety texture. It's gorgeous. It's just that when you have dry lips, this is not a great formula because it does really stick to all the dry bits. But I find that if I've got the Chanel underneath it, as well as a decent base of lip balm as well, I find that it works a lot better. So I'm sure that many of you are probably going, this is nothing new, Cherie. But on a whim recently, I just decided to try it and it's working really well. While we're talking about makeup, the other thing that I've been loving lately is a beauty YouTuber channel. Her name is Martina Lily and she's Australian. Her channel's still fairly small. I think she's just about to hit 10K. And I found her, I think, because she talks a lot about Pat McGrath eyeshadow palettes. And not too long ago, I was on the precipice of ordering a Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette. Moonlit Seduction, I think it's called, but it's a lot of money. So I can't go and see them in person where I am. I can only order them online. There's no Sephora here where I live. So I couldn't actually go and physically see them. So I was doing lots of research to see if it was going to work for me or not. And weirdly, by watching Martina's videos, I decided that Moonlit Seduction would in fact be a good one for me. But in the process of watching lots of beauty YouTube videos talking about applying makeup, I kind of realized that I already have enough makeup. Just the act of, watching people use it, I thought, wow, that's amazing. It's a beautiful product, obviously, and probably worth the money, maybe, but probably not worth the money for me because I have a lot of eyeshadow and I hardly ever wear eyeshadow. I have started to wear eyeshadow on a daily basis, but mostly it's very neutral, and some people might even say that they can't even detect that I'm wearing it. So it was kind of a weird thing that happened, that I was sold on the fact that that was the palette that I wanted. In that process, I also came to the realization that I didn't need any new makeup palettes. So I thought that was pretty funny. So worthwhile checking her out if you haven't discovered her already. I'll link her channel down below. Next up is a kind of random one, but I don't know who I was watching on YouTube, and they were lighting a candle and they had this flameless candle lighter and I was blown away. Just really, I became obsessed with getting one of these flameless candle lighters, and they're everywhere. I'd never even seen them, but once I started looking for them, they were everywhere. And I just really, really love them because I tend to use the gas lighters, but I hate replacing them. And I find that trying to refill those things, it just never works for me. So having something that I can just charge and then light a candle is perfect for me. So this is the product. It's looking a little bit skanky at the moment because, it's just got lots of soot and stuff on it. It's been well used already. But yeah, it's just a candle lighter. And what you do is you charge it, creates a little plasma arc across the two little nodes there. That's it. And you can light a candle. And the good thing about these is that if you're outside, the flame doesn't get blown out while you're trying to light it. So, the candle may not stay lit, but, a wind doesn't affect the ability to create the arc. So anyway, I have also discovered the joy of adult colouring. And I'm not very good at it, and I'm not trying to be good at it. I'm not trying to be an artist, but I have honestly discovered real joy in sitting down on a Sunday afternoon or something, putting an audiobook on, and I'm listening to Wolf Hall at the moment, by the way, putting an audiobook on and just sitting there and colouring. It's great. I've made a whole thing of it because I purchased a adult colouring journal. So it's a planner for the year, but each page has, basically a design on it. You can decorate it however you like. I've never really been into bullet journaling, especially not the fancy type of bullet journal. I love watching bullet journal videos or listening to them. It's so weird. But I've never really been so inclined to do a bullet journal in the way that people do them, where they decorate them and they come up with all these spreads and things like that. It's just too much thinking required for me. I really just wanted a place where I could put things to plan and then, just easily make it colourful or make it pretty. So in case you're interested, this is the planner that I bought. This is made and marketed by another Australian YouTuber, Sarah Renee Clark. I will also put the link to her channel below. I mean, if you want to learn about this, you can go onto Sarah Renee Clark's YouTube channel or whatever and have a look. I think she had a video dedicated to this. So obviously it's quite sizable. It's not exactly portable, but the way I'm using this is where I plan all of my creative stuff. So it's where I plan all my Instagram posts. Not that I'm very good at planning my Instagram posts, because a lot of the time I plan them and then I never do them. But it's also where I plan a lot of my YouTube videos. It's just one place where I can keep everything. It's not digital, obviously. She does have a digital version. I didn't buy the digital version because I just wanted to see if I was going to be dedicated enough to using something like this. But I wanted something that was separate from my day-to-day work stuff, because obviously that takes priority for me, and I didn't want my calendars getting all mixed up. I wanted to be able to see what's in here, and at the moment, I'm really enjoying it because it's a different way of thinking. It's a different mindset to be in, to be planning something from a creative angle versus a business angle. When I sit down with this, I know I'm probably going to be sitting down with it for an hour or two, and I'll be brainstorming. While I'm brainstorming or while I'm coming up with ideas, I can chuck the audiobook on and start colouring in, and it's just a really nice meditative activity. So at the moment I'm really enjoying it. We'll see if it sticks. That's sort of what I've been doing this year. And then finally, the other thing that's been making me really happy lately is reading. And as a child, I was always quite an avid reader. As a teenager, I was an avid reader. As a young adult, I was an avid reader. But over time, you know, and I think this happens to a lot of us, is that as your career progresses and your job becomes more serious, you tend to spend much more time just reading business stuff, you know, or work-related stuff. And we sort of move away from reading fiction and frivolous fun things because we see them as being frivolous rather than being something that adds value to our lives from a creative angle. So I have really been getting into fantasy novels again. I used to love fantasy and science fiction, and it's just been such a lovely reprieve this year to be getting back into reading fantasy and reading things for fun, not just for learning and progressing my career. So I recently finished reading The Starless Sea. Loved that. Thought that was an absolutely beautiful book. Had no idea what was going on. And I think to enjoy that book, you have to be comfortable with not knowing. You have to be comfortable with things jumping around and the story jumping around quite a lot. But it was so beautifully written. I was so immersed in that world and that book that it didn't really bother me. And then I got to the end and I was trying to explain it to Matt and I couldn't explain it. And he said, well, you know, what was the meaning of it? And I went, I'm going to have to think about that. So I got to the end of it. I just sort of thought, I don't really know what the point of that was, but it was delightful to read. But I think if you want to read something like that, it's probably best to not overthink it going into it. Just go in and enjoy it, immerse yourself and come out the other end. That was absolutely delightful. Can't wait to read the next book. The next book I'm planning to read is Shadow of the Wind, and I've already downloaded it, so I'm very much looking forward to getting stuck into that one. That apparently is also very, very good. So consequently, I've been enjoying a lot of BookTube at the moment lately as well. So if I'm walking the dog or I'm driving somewhere that requires a long distance, or if I'm sitting on a plane, if I'm not reading, I'm enjoying listening to reviews of books. That's pretty much it, really. I think that's enough. This video is going to be very, very long. So thanks for joining me. If you got this far, then I really appreciate it. I just like sharing things that I'm enjoying at the moment. And, you know, life is hard enough. So I think it's good to just spread the joy a little bit, and maybe you will find something that you enjoy as well. So, or maybe it'll spark another thought for you and you will find something else that engages you and brings you happiness. All right, I'm going to go, and thank you so much. If you liked this, then please do give it a thumbs up as always, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.